Pebrero 1.
Ilang oras lang matapos bawiin ang kanilang unilateral ceasefire, sunod-sunod ang pag-atake ng New People's Army. Patay ang isang batang Army officer, graduate ng PMA Class 2015, sa isang ambush sa Davao Oriental, Miyerkules ng hapon. Base sa kanyang Facebook post, nakatakda na sana itong ikasal sa kanyang nobya. Tatlong mga sundalo na napaulat na missing sa Malaybalay City natagpuan ring patay, tadtad ng bala, Miyerkules din ng hapon. Ayon sa kanilang mga opisyal, nanlaban ang mga ito nang tangkain silang dukutin ng mga rebelde. Si Private First Class Erwin Salan dinukot habang nagsasagawa ng clean-up sa Surigao del Norte noong Enero 21. Ang pinakahuli, 2 sundalo sa Sultan Kudarat na dinukot rin Huwebes ng umaga. Dahil sa sunod-sunod na pag-atake, may babala ang AFP sa mga komunista.
Pero sa pinakita nyo at pinamalas nyong violenteng pag-uugali, ang inyong deceit and deception dito sa mga pangyayaring ito, inaantay lang po namin ang abiso ng ating mahal na Pangulo kung kinakailangan pa bang magtimpi tayo sa ating armed forces.
Mananatili pa rin ang unilateral ceasefire ng gobyerno pero hindi dahilan ito para pigilan ng AFP na tugisin ang mga rebelde.
Pagka hinaharas ka na, they are already committing atrocities. So habulin na natin sila, huwag naman kayo magpabugbog dyan.
Ayon naman sa ilang cause-oriented groups, patuloy ang pang-aabuso ng militar sa kanilang mga komunidad na paglabag umano sa idineklarang tigil putukan ng pamalaan.
Ayaw namin ang military operation sa kabundukan dahil mangyari harassment, paglabag sa karapatan namin.
Ayon naman kay Peace Advisor Jesus Duresa, ipinarating na kay Pangulong Duterte ang mga insidente, lalo pat kung may nangyayaring mga karahasan.
I'm sure he's distressed with what is happening here.
Kontra sa nais ng Administrasyong Duterte, pinapanukala ng ilang militanteng grupo na ituloy ang usapang pangkapayapaan kahit may giyera sa pagitan ng mga sundalo at rebelde.
You can still forge important agreements even without a ceasefire.
Sa harap ng palitan ng alegasyon sa paglabag ng ceasefire, giit ni Duresa, hindi ito mareresolba hanggat di nabubuo ang isang joint mechanism.
Otherwise, naging propaganda war lang on both sides. Kanya-kanyang diskarte. We do not want that. The people will the ones who will be in the middle who will be caught in that war.
At habang patuloy ang karahasan, patuloy rin ang paglagas ng mga buhay.
An update on the situation on the ground, especially in areas where there is continuing tension between the military and communist rebels. Joining us on the phone is AFP spokesman Brigadier General Resty Padilla. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for your invitation, and good evening to everyone following this newscast right now.
General Padilla, have you monitored harassments against AFP units overnight?
Since the lifting of the unilateral declaration that we have made on the part of government and the cancellation of the SOMO, so far we have had one incident of an encounter between our troops and the NPA in Iloilo. That was the latest, and it occurred around noon today. The follow-up report has not yet reached us, but we're waiting for it, and as of the last report, none from among our men has been hurt. The other one is a series of arrests that has been conducted in Mindanao. We're awaiting that report, and we believe that these operations were necessary, and it was a combined operation with the police to enforce warrants of arrest that was previously suspended in light of the talks.
General Padilla, the series of arrests you mentioned in Mindanao, is this connected to the spate of attacks in recent days?
No, this is related to the enforcement of our laws. Clearly, a police function that we are strongly supporting, and to exact justice for previous offenses committed that have been tried in court already.
General Padilla, since the President ordered the lifting of the government ceasefire last night, do we expect a shift in the mode of military action against the CPP-NPA from defense mode to offensive mode?
Clearly, we have gone on that already, and from the very stroke of midnight and the first second of the following day, the troops have been informed that because of this lifting, we have switched to offensive mode again. Then for most areas where a lot of our troops have been clearly observing religiously this declaration that we have made on the part of government, and observing the SOMO, that will be gone, and it will be back to the resumption of hostilities as it was before August. The armed forces is really sad because there's so much dividends that have been reaped from the 6 months of relative peace. And the beneficiary of this peace has been a lot of our kababayans in these areas. And we hear their loud clamor for the continuation of the ceasefire, but unfortunately the other side seems not to want that. But we have not lost our hope. We still continue to count on the rationality of their leaders, and we hope we are wrong to believe that there is division among their ranks with these armed groups led by George Madlos going on their way, and instead of following the leadership. So we are still counting on this, and we are holding this positively, and we pray that we still are able to get to the vision of having a more lasting and just peace in our land.
General Padilla, tell us more about this offensive mode. What does this entail, especially in the context of concerns raised by peace advocates? This could lead to more civilians being caught in the crossfire.
I can guarantee you and the rest of our kababayans that nothing of that sort will happen. We have clearly observed very strict guidelines for our troops. Our rules of engagement are very clear, that we only are targeting armed men of the NPA and not innocent civilians. The Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Ed Año, has given strict instructions, and so has the Secretary of National Defense. We have a clear mandate to perform that is well stated in our Constitution, and we will follow that to the letter, to be the protectors of the people and to guard the sovereignty and integrity of our land. And our rules of engagement will clearly spell that out, and with safeguards instituted therein, not to affect any other innocent members of society who are clearly for peace.
General Padilla, 6 soldiers slain just this week, and the CPP-NPA is claiming it has at least 5 soldiers in its custody. In your press briefing yesterday, you said there are only 3. What's the real figure, sir?
Actually, we received word about this 5, and we have sent out word to our units. We may have missed out on the 2. We have not yet received the feedback from our units. But by our count, since the start of these atrocities, we confirmed that, yes, indeed, T.F.C. Salan was abducted in Surigao del Norte, and 2 other soldiers in Sultan Kudarat. But for the 2 others, we are still determining this.
AFP strongly condemned the killing of 6 unarmed soldiers by the New People's Army, saying such brutalities are a violation of international humanitarian law. AFP spokesperson Restituto Padilla said further worrisome was that these troops had just come from peace and development missions that benefited these communities. He said these acts are not only violations of the NPA's own ceasefire declaration that is still in effect, but is an utter disregard of international humanitarian law when they used excessive force on the bodies of 3 soldiers they earlier abducted. More details from Trixie Jafar.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines strongly condemns the killings of 6 soldiers by the New People's Army after the said group's announcement of terminating the unilateral ceasefire with the government. According to AFP spokesperson Brigadier General Restituto Padilla, it is a clear violation of ongoing peace talks and international humanitarian law.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines strongly condemns the New People's Army for the recent atrocities in killing 6 of our soldiers who came from peace and development projects that benefited the communities. These acts are not only violations of their own ceasefire, that is still in effect. It is an utter disregard to international humanitarian law when they mutilated the bodies of 3 soldiers they earlier abducted by the use of excessive force. It shows their clear disregard of the newly forged guidelines for the full implementation of the Joint Monitoring Committee under the Comprehensive Agreement on Respect for Human Rights and International Humanitarian Law, signed by the CPP and DF leadership in Rome last month.
Moreover, General Padilla calls for the immediate release of Private First Class Erwin Salan, who has been abducted last January 29. He added that the soldiers who were attacked by the NPA in 2 consecutive days are found to have obtained multiple gunshot wounds and mutilated bodies. Investigation is underway to identify the perpetrators behind the killings. Meanwhile, General Padilla made an appeal to the NPA to stop any lawless attacks and uphold peace with the government of the Philippines.
Kasalukuyang sinisikap nating malaman ito at hanggang sa ngayon wala pa po tayong indikasyon, pero alam po natin at tukoy natin kung anong grupo ang nagsagawa nito. We continue to appeal to the other side to reconsider their position because the process of peace is a very important undertaking that we owe to our people. The armed forces and the defense establishment fully understands the desire of the whole nation to put an end to this series of violence and to put long and lasting peace in place.